Okay, great. So I'm going to share my screen now, and we're going to get going. Um, okay, let me just move this over here. Okay, great. So, okay, good. Let's kick it off. So, welcome to the very first virtual business breakfast series. Who would have thought? A little more than a month ago, when we had a packed room at the Harbor Club, that suddenly we'd be doing this virtually. Yet that's cool. That's cool. We're resilient, and I want to thank Missy Parker and Carrie Glasscock on my team for helping put this together. They are the wind beneath the wings. I want to thank Jim and just everyone at the Harbor Club, because what I think is really cool is that though as members we can't get together in person just yet, the club still wants to offer everyone value, and a lot of people that are members of the club, including myself, in addition to social, we also have a business aspect to belonging. And I think this is a great way to continue the business breakfast series until we can all meet again in person. Looking forward to the opening of West Edge, and get some value. So I'm going to get my my little clicker thing here. And let's see if I can get this going. Bear with me. I'm not going to claim to be an expert on this. Okay, great. There we go. So remote working strategy. So first, let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm Thomas Heath. I'm a life and business coach. The way I help the world is through branding and messaging. So I help people from a business perspective on either starting a business. I have a lot of people coming to me now that have suddenly had to pivot. Some people, unfortunately, had to work, and yet they still have bills to pay. So they're starting home-based businesses, and I coach them on that. And I coach them on getting clarity and strategy, and with tons of accountability. My official certification is as a life coach. I've been in private practice for 13 years. I'm a journalist with Charleston Regional Business Journal, and I do a lot of speaking. I'm known as the LinkedIn guy. I'm passionate about LinkedIn. I absolutely love LinkedIn. At the end of this, I'll give you a way to get connected with me on LinkedIn. It's just, for me, it's just been such a great tool. And especially in today's day and age, with everything virtual, if you're doing any type of business or marketing development, I cannot stress enough the importance of having a good LinkedIn profile. And it doesn't have to be perfect, just a couple of key things. And maybe we'll do that if you're interested. Put it on the chat if that's an interesting topic that you'd like to learn about moving forward, or any other topics, please bring that up in the chat. And then last but not least, I am Shannon's daddy. That's my little 8.5-pound Havanese. She's actually a therapy dog here at the Life Guidance Center. I don't have her with me here today. I put her on, though, because working from home, many of you may have children around. I don't have children, but I have a puppy. So, well, she's not a puppy, but she looks like one. And she is... she's going to factor in. She's part of my family. She's going to factor in from successfully working from home. So, okay, I want to just continue here, and bear with me. So what I'm going to talk about are 5 strategies to working successfully from home. And the first one is clear communication. So please feel free to jot down some notes. If you have any questions, we'll be taking Q&A throughout. We have a full hour. I don't have a ton of slides, so you should be able to make it. So first, do not assume that everyone knows what's going on. Don't make any assumptions when it comes to communications, whether it's with a roommate, a spouse, a partner, children, other relatives that you're living with. It's very important to have clear communication. So the first thing that I suggest is to call a meeting. And if you are parents, what I would suggest is you have a meeting first as adults, and that you be very clear in determining what your plan of action is going to be. One of the things that I think is important, especially if you're communicating with younger folks, is how we use our words. And I'm a big fan of what I call the power of words. And a lot of people now are saying, well, this is the new normal. And I'm going to suggest that you don't do that. I'm going to suggest that you talk about the temporary normal. because this too shall pass. I mean, believe me, this stinks. This is not the funnest thing to be dealing with right now. It is what it is, and we get to deal with life on life's terms. I do believe it's temporary. And we've gone through things like this before. I lived through 9/11. I was in New York City. I was actually on an airplane that day, and I thought all hell was broken loose. And we got through it. We're resilient people. This is a resilient town. We've had a lot of tragedy in this town. So I think when you're using your words, talk about the temporary normal, which includes things like distancing. Now, another term that I don't like is social distancing, because I'm not stopping being social. We're not stopping being social. The term I prefer is physical distancing. And that's important to practice. I think that's really important to practice. That 6 feet rule makes sense, because what's going around with COVID-19 is airborne. So if we are not breathing someone else's air, we're going to have less of a chance to catch it. So the other important thing about clear communications is establishing expectations, duties, responsibilities, who's doing what when. And depending on the folks that are in your house, especially with children, you're going to need to, and I'm not a big need to guy. Normally I say, well, you get to do it or you deserve to do it. In this case, you're going to need to be as clear as possible in establishing expectations all across the board with your partner, your spouse, relatives, children. Puppies are a little bit harder to do that with. Yet it's so important to have that open communication. One of the things that I quite often say to my coaching clients is have that difficult conversation. Have that. I very fairly met someone who didn't have the courage on that, and then take that on, and then it's better. And I want to just acknowledge, hey, Gabe, I got your question. Gabe Gould got your question on LinkedIn, and I'll definitely be doing my best to answer anything around that. So with regards to strategy 1, again, clear communications. Don't make any assumptions. Actually call a meeting. And some people will say, oh, that's kind of weird. Why am I calling me? Well, this is kind of serious stuff. This is some weird stuff going on. So we all want to be in this together. And especially if you have any type of living situation or family unit, you want to be very intentional in understanding what's going to go on day to day, what the expectations on, and communicating clearly. So that's strategy number 1. Okay. Strategy number 2, let me see if I can get this thing working. Okay. I'm gonna have some quotes here. So, and this is Q&A, so this is going to be interactive. Does anyone know who said the following? People support that which they help to create. She was one of the original folks with multi-level marketing. She's known for her pink. Pink was a big thing. If you worked for her and you were an independent salesperson and you had a good year, then you got a pink Cadillac sometimes, or a pink car. Does anyone know who I'm talking about? Let's see what we got here. Yes, Cameron, Mary Kay Chase, exactly. Now, Mary Kay, come on, Mary Kay, where's your picture here? Hold on, let's get this going. Okay, it's Mary Kay. So I love this quote because it's one thing, especially if we're the adult in charge, to say, okay, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. Well, as someone who has a rebellious streak in me, thank my my Irish father for that. I don't like to necessarily be told what to do. Yet, if someone comes to me and says, hey, what do you think of this idea? Or let's be more specific to this situation. Hey, guys, Dad's got to work to keep food on the table when I'm working from home. And what I'm going to need is I'm going to need time when I can do that. And I'm going to need you to be in the other part of the house or possibly outside playing. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on making this all work so that dad can still work? You get some dad time when it make when in between. That's important. We'll talk about that, building in that time. So people support what they help to create, even beyond COVID-19. Take this quote, especially if you're in any type of leadership role, whether it's within a family, an organization, a nonprofit group. People support that which they help to create because then they have ownership. Okay, so moving on. Strategy number 2: establish a routine. Now, this, I think, is one of the most important things. And what I'm going to tell you right now is it's about progress, not perfection. I'm a recovering perfectionist. So sometimes I set unrealistic standards for myself. Don't do that. Just take it one day at a time. Start, though. And what it begins with, for me, is something called time blocking. And we were hoping, and hopefully we're still going to do this once this is all over. Give me a second. Do a session on time blocking at the Business Breakfast Series. So what this is working with intention, and I teach all my clients about this. Working with intention to block out times during the day. This is actually what you're seeing on my screen. It's a screenshot from one of my weeks. And you're going to see a light blue color. You're going to see a green. You're going to see some gray, some red, some yellow. Those all are very specific types of activities. Now, what I do is I have a spreadsheet, and I know that I'm not going to start my day before 7 a.m. when it comes to any type of volunteer work or work. And for the most part, I want to be done by 6 o'clock or so I can have time with my family. So I have this spreadsheet, and I break it down in 15-minute increments. And then within, and I do it with Google Sheets, you can do it with Excel, I start to map out, okay, what I want to, let's just say, I'll start out with things around self-care and working out. So my color is gray. So I work out on Mondays at 2:30, Thursdays at 7 o'clock. I have Saturdays at 10:30, and that's sacred time. That's my time for working out. And we're going to talk a little bit later about the difference between self-care and being selfish. It's not about being selfish. Then green, and you can borrow this if you want, I block out for when I'm generating revenue, when I'm doing some coaching. Yellow could be family time. Blue is business building time. I think this is really important. I learned this from my coach, that it's very important, even if you're really, really busy, you want to keep your pipeline going, to block out that time. Now, let's talk about for family situations. So a couple of things. I would highly suggest that you set times when you check email. Because otherwise you can get sucked into the vortex of email. I've been there, especially when I was in sales working corporate America, working from home. They got more hours out of me than anything. I was always checking email. It wasn't healthy. So some people say, check email at 9, 12, and 4, and literally block it out, put it on your calendar, give yourself set time that you check your email, so you're not going back and forth, and you're not like Pavlov's dogs where it dings and you run and go do it, because that's really not the greatest thing, especially if you're dealing with other people that you're living with, including young folks. So you want to block out that. You want to block out breaks. That's really, really important in today's day and age. I just recently saw a post from Luke Sievers, and Luke's a great guy. He's on LinkedIn. He's been in my mastermind group, and he's writing a book on time blocking. And he was saying that he believes that people can be just as effective working 6 hours a day as 8 hours a day, and as long as they employ time blocking. So I'm going to encourage you to start practicing that, and please start asking any questions if you have around that. Okay, this is important. Mindset. So And it took me a little bit in the groove for this because you wake up, you're like, oh, wow, you know, I don't have any appointments. I don't need to, you know, shower yet. I can stay in my pajamas or my sweatpants. I would suggest against that for the most part. Here's why. It's about mindset. When I get dressed, when I get showered, okay, I'm ready for the show. I'm ready for the game. And otherwise, I can lapse to a mindset that things aren't as important, and it is. I mean, especially if we're working professionals, we want to act professional. So something as simple as showering and getting dressed. Also, you want to time block breaks to eat. Another thing is be flexible. So it's good to establish routine. It's good to have time blocking. What I would suggest not doing is saying this is the way it's happening. If it doesn't go like this, then it's not going to work because this is day to day. So your time blocking may shift. Your plans, your expectations may shift. The key is you want to have some structure, yet not be so inflexible that it causes tension in the household. Okay, here's another quote. If my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it. If my mind can achieve it, my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it. So this guy, boxer, some people call him the greatest boxer of all time. He was a big mindset guy. His name, he changed his name, and he was a peaceful observer during the 1960s. Does anyone know who gave this quote? Yes, Cameron, Muhammad Ali. You're just cranking it, girl. Yeah, Muhammad Ali. He let me just minimize this. He had a tremendous mindset, and he believed that if he can conceive it, and then he truly believed it, that he can achieve it. So that is something that I think is really important as we're going through what can sometimes be some challenging times. That we really have this mindset. So okay, great. So let's continue. Strategy 3: designate a workspace. Now, understanding, depending on your living situation, you may not have a designated office. I get that. With that said, at least designate a formal place where you're doing work. And this it's important that you create a comfortable environment. So a chair, absolutely important. If you don't have a comfortable chair and you can afford one, please be sure to invest in that. Making sure that you have proper lighting, that you have a space that's comfortable to work. Some people might say, "Well, yeah, duh, that of course you'd want to do that." It's very easy, and I'll speak for myself. It's very easy to say, "Oh, I'll just deal with this now," and not having the proper work environment. And believe me, sometimes I can get caught up in the clutter thing and this and that. With that said, I do have a really comfortable chair, and most of my work now is remote coaching or helping people with their LinkedIn profiles. I'm sitting down all day, so you want to make sure that you're comfortable. The next thing, okay, let me see if we get this going here, is okay, be cognizant of sights and sounds. So if you notice, I am working from my training room. I have a training room here at the Life Guidance Center. And a lot more of us are doing these Zoom-like calls or these video conferencing. And you want to be very cognizant what's in your background. So I could have done this for home. Part of the reason why I didn't is internet connection. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. You want to be cognizant of what's behind you. You don't want to be, especially if you're doing a lot of Zoom calls, you don't want a window behind you because it will make you dark. Now, I'm going to just give you, I have some lights set up. I bought some lights. So I'm going to just, step away and just turn off one of the lights. I'm going to show you what happens. Okay, so I just shut off one light and you can see this side of the face is dark. I'm going to do the other one. So now I'm coming to you and you can probably see me a bit. It's not as dynamic. You don't have that texture and color. And I got these lights from Amazon like a year or two ago. They're 75 bucks. You can get them even less money now, and you get this little light circle that you can put on your desk, especially if you're doing any type of business development, customer relationship. You want to look your best, and you want to be able to make a professional impression. So now I'm going to go back and put on the lights. And if you see the difference, it's a lot fuller. So, and as far as sounds, I think this is important, that some people are hesitant to do Zoom conference calls because they're pets or children. We're all, most of us are in the same boat. And if you just say, hey, I'm working from home, I have a 3-year-old that's running around, I apologize in advance. Most people are going to are going to get that. So don't get too caught up in that. I think it's I think it's part of this new temporary normal. And then the third thing is establish boundaries. This is probably one of the biggest things. And what I mean by that is on several fronts. So when you have your time blocking, you have your work time, shut things down when you're done. There have been a lot of benefits for me personally in doing this and saying, okay, the work day is over now. When it comes to relationships within my family, spending more time with my wife and my puppy dog, and doing more Zoom and FaceTimes with friends and family. So establishing the boundaries of when you go to this workspace and when you don't. Also, if you have other people, and this might be part of the original when you called the team meeting, saying to them, okay, this is, mommy's going to be working from the kitchen. Mommy's going to be working from the kitchen sometimes. And so that means that if you want to run in for a snack, you gotta, we gotta have some rules on as far as how you're doing it. So, establishing the boundaries. So if you have any questions on that, please pipe in. Okay, here's another quote. I take invasion of my personal space very seriously. Okay, this guy's from Detroit. He's a rocker. He sang a song that had to do with summer, and it took part of its what do they call it, the lick, whatever it is, from a Leonard Skinner song. Does anyone know what rocker said, I take invasion of my personal space very seriously? Okay, let's just see. We got Mr. Kid Rock. So I just put this in because I thought it was funny, yet it's got some truth to it. So you might want to not be uber serious about it. With that say, it's all about establishing boundaries. Okay, let's talk about tip 4. And this can be learned the hard way. I'm speaking from experience, and it's optimized technology. So one of the biggest things I can tell you right now that I've painfully learned, if you take nothing else out of this, is verify your internet speed. And just when you're seeing these ads that say, 100 megabits per second, 200 megabits per second, it's bull crap, okay? It's total bull crap. That's download. If you're doing any type of virtual broadcasting, especially if you're showing videos, you need to look at the upload speeds. And one of the great ways to test it is to go to fast.com, FAST.com, and it will give you a readout of what you got going on. And one of the things that I learned is, whether it's at home or in my building, I don't have strong enough upload speed. So I'm going to be working with my team to figure that out, because my wife is also doing a lot of webinars, and she shows videos. She's a psychotherapist, and she shows videos, movie clips, and she's not going to be able to do that with low speeds. So don't get sucked into the whole 100, 200 megabits per second. That's download. Focus on the upload. Part of the way you can get that is to go to fast.com. Now, in the neighborhood that I live in, James Island, I'm on Comcast. I share it with everyone in my neighborhood. So if there's a ton of people on and they're gaming and things like that, upload speeds are going to go down, and that's dangerous. If you can swing a dedicated line, even at work, that's better. So what I'm going to say is there's deals out there. Don't assume you can't get one. Call, challenge them against each other. I haven't personally dealt with WoW, but Gail, I saw your hand up, and I want to answer your question. This is what I'm going to tell you, and this is just my 2 cents. Everything's just my 2 cents. You don't have to listen to me. So Comcast, their customer service has gotten better. It used to be abominable. They've gotten better. So they're worth checking out. WoW has some good deals going on. One of my clients, Paul Ciccone, raves about them. Stay away from AT&T. It is an absolute billing nightmare. And maybe there's some of you that have no problems with it. Let me emphasize, nightmare. Stay away from AT&T. You'll pull your hair out. I've lost hair because of this. Okay. So, great. Gail, great question. What is a good upload speed goal? 25 megabits per second. So where I'm coming from you now, in fact, what the heck? Let me just, let me see if I can do this now, and I can show you what I'm talking about. So I go to fast.com. Okay. And what you're going to see is it's pinging my system. So this is my megabits per second. It's kind of in the 20s. It's not the greatest. It's not the greatest, but it is what it is. Hopefully you can all hear me all right. You can see me all right. And it's going a little slow. Give me a second, because this is worth, I just want to show you, this is not hard to do. And specifically, I want to answer Gail's question to show you all. What you do then is you click on show more information, and this will give you a couple of numbers. And what we're waiting for is coming right here. It's a little gray now. It's the upload speed. It's saying 20, 19. So yesterday when I was doing the test, I was getting anywhere between 12 and 17. So let's see what this comes up with. Yeah, 17. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. I'm still going to be exploring. I'm going to be exploring this this week to see if I can make that even better. So Gail, hopefully I answered your question on that. Okay, so let me go back to my PowerPoint. And Gail, if I didn't, please just ping me again, and anyone else. Okay. Take advantage of video conferencing. Again, I get it. Some people are not as comfortable with it. It's like riding a bike. You try it a few times, and believe me, you will fall flat on your face sometimes, where your audio's not working, your sound's not working, you're going crazy. My wife's going through it right now. I feel bad for her, but we'll hold each other's hands. So Zoom's a big one. You got WebEx, you got a couple of others. Zoom, essentially, you can get for free, and I believe you can host another person free of charge. When you get up to 3 people or so, and you want to go more than 45 minutes, you got to start paying. And a typical Zoom account is around 15, 16 bucks before taxes. What we're on now is called Zoom Webinar. So that's an additional $40 a month. And that gives you the ability, I believe I can have up to 100 participants, and with all the other features in it. So I don't think Zoom's perfect. It seems to be the one that everyone's going to. Ask around, do some research. The key is it's so much stronger, whether it's a client, customer, anyone on your team, to see each other, as opposed to just speaking on the phone. You can make that connection. So you get your space. Don't sit in front of a window. If you can get a little light, again, you're not going to spend a lot of money here. A little desktop light with a little ring around it. The point is making that human-to-human connection, especially if you're in any type of customer relationships, sales, marketing, business development, is going to make a difference. And then, okay, great. Pam's got a question. Let's get Pam's question answered. Bear with me. Okay, so, okay, I answered. Okay. Okay, Pam, I don't see your question. Let me see that. So if you can type that in, that would be great. I talked about this before. Okay, I think we're coming in now. Let's see. Do you use Facebook Live with Zoom? No, Facebook Live. Oh, great. Thank you for bringing it up. That's a great point. So separate platform. So the popular ones right now, so I'll give you an example. For my house of worship, they broadcast on Facebook Live. They do their own streamings, equivalent to like Zoom. And then they also do Instagram Live. So I think part of it's going to depend on your audience. I would say for you as a physician, if we're focusing on that market, let's just pretend we are, because I know you have a couple cool things going on. That is what is more like a B2C play, business consumer. That would be Facebook Live would be really good for you. I did Facebook Live when it first started. I do these things called I think I called LinkedIn personal branding makeovers. I can't remember. Right? It was a makeover of your personal branding makeover. So I have someone come in and we'd shoot an episode live, and then they come back in a week and we change their pictures and the headshots and the profiles and their websites and all this cool stuff. And it's a real powerful tool. And what's great about Facebook Live is it's free. And you can record it, and then people can go back and listen to it. In fact, there's also LinkedIn Live that has not been released out to everyone. What's great is I've heard from my colleagues that have LinkedIn Live, and they get more playbacks than they do get people live watching. So it's great in this day and age of what I call value marketing. And value marketing is the antithesis to the old way of marketing, which is buy from me, buy my product, buy my service. That's not going to fly anymore. Value marketing is creating content that creates value, and it's usually around the 4 E's. You're creating value that is educational, it's enlightening, it's empowering, or it's entertaining. So if you have certain tips, like I'm working with a dental practice now, so we're going to be creating and she's a holistic dentist. We're going to be creating all these videos, and they're going to be geared towards what I call Mount Pleasant mamas. So she's got a Mount Pleasant-based practice she's going to be opening, and Instagram is going to be her space. So we're going to be creating these 1-minute videos. So Pam, hopefully that answered your question. Okay, so I'm listening. Okay, so you wrote, I'm doing a webinar this evening via Zoom, and we'll also stream Facebook Live. Yeah, if you have a streaming connection. So Pam is saying that she's going to use a streaming tool she's going to use Zoom to stream it onto Facebook Live. However, it is hard to connect at certain times of day. Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you don't have a dedicated connection. So you're doing it this evening. Okay. Well, I would call up your internet provider and see what you can do deal-wise, because there's deals out there to get a higher connection. I was at, just to give you a very specific example, I was at 25 megabits per second download, and I think I was paying 50 something bucks a month. I called Comcast up. I got 200 megabits per second for 50 bucks per month. So the deals are out there, and it helped a little bit. With that said, I still have to up it. I might be going to like 1,000, depending on what the cost is. What I'm going to say to you is be careful about how much media, if you be careful, especially if it's tonight, unless you up it quickly and showing videos. With that said, if what I would do, because I'm not an expert on this, is I would Google it, or I would put it out there. So hopefully Yeah, hopefully that answered your question. We got some more here. And great. I love this. I'm really glad that you're asking questions. Okay, Missy Parker, in doing sales calls, do you suggest I always recommend setting up a Zoom video call first to my prospects? Sure, why not? The worst they can say is I'm not comfortable with that. Especially with you, because you're so personable, that's going to come across, Missy, a lot better than on the phone. So I'm doing everything now. So I have people that say, well, I'm not sure about coaching and this and that. I'm like, okay, cool. Why don't we set up a 15-minute Zoom session and let's talk about your goals and what you want to achieve. And I'll see if I can help you. So I just did one of these, I think, on Tuesday, and she hired me. So I'm not saying that I did it because she's a nice person and I want to help her and I want to answer her questions. She saw enough value to say, great, I want you to help me. And you know what she hired me for, which is interesting, is doing virtual webinars. So we're putting together, actually, she's on the call. So Bonnie Compton's this amazing parent coach. And she practices here at the Life Guidance Center. I'd say she's amazing anyway. I consider myself a pretty good parent. She's given me some excellent suggestions, especially when it comes to my grandbabies. I'm a young grandfather. So we're packaging up what she's going to be offering to Chambers of Commerce. I'd love it. Then type into the chat if you'd be interested on any topics around parenting during COVID-19. I'd love to have Bonnie come on. Again, this is your series. You get to drive what the content is. I am excited about the one we have coming up in 2 weeks. So Missy, so hopefully I answered your question. Keep them coming, please. So, okay, so we're doing good. Let me go back to our quotes. Okay. Quality is more important than quantity. One home run is better than 2 doubles. So this guy who said it has something to do with this thing I'm holding. He was known for his black turtlenecks and his jeans. Does anyone know who I'm talking about? All about innovation. Okay, so let's see who we have here. Okay, I know this, someone answered it. Okay, give me a second. More, okay. Oh, okay, I'm bringing up the chat. Thank you. Sorry. Yes, Betty, Rebecca, Paulo, thank you. Cool. I'm just getting into the chat stuff. So I want to go back to that now. Yeah, it is Steve Jobs. So I want to go back because I disregarded this a little bit. I want to make sure, not on purpose, that I got this. Oh, original, Robin. Okay, that's originally from Paul J. Meyer. I did not know Muhammad Ali borrowed that. Mark Greisbaum, sorry if I'm not saying it right. You agree with you on ATD? Yeah. Oh my gosh, don't experience what Mark and I did. Paulo, I talked about him before. Amazing personal branding photographer. But he's got this cool thing that he's doing where he can make you look like you're coming from a television studio with all these cool graphics. So reach out to Paulo on LinkedIn. So he said that. He agreed with me, 25 megabits or more. He's getting 60 megabits or more with WOW. Well, guess what, Paulo? I'm coming over to your place to do the next webinar then, because that's amazing. Okay, cool, great. So, yep, we got Mr. Steve Jobs. I think we got another question. This is great. Yep, Cameron, great. Okay, good. Cool. Okay, good. We are moving along. This is great. Hopefully it's great. Okay, strategy 5. I'm a life coach, so you got to understand where I'm coming from this. Practice self-care. And I was blessed to learn a couple of years ago the difference between being selfish and being self-caring. And I got a great quote coming up that I think is going to summarize this. And this is what I'm going to talk about here. So prioritize nutrition. It is very, very easy to disregard putting the right food in your body. And one of the great things that I do, and first of all, I'm not going out to the grocery store. I'm using Instacart, or I'm going to Harris Teeter. I still call it the Piggly Wiggly. I'm going to the Pig, and I pay for my order ahead of time. I pull up, I call them, I pop my trunk, they put it in. And I'm not like an alarmist. I'm not paranoid. I got grandbaby with very, very serious lung issues, so I can't pass this along. Prioritizing nutrition. One of the best things is meal prep. Designate a day, make it fun. If you got kids, bring them in. If you give them a job. And meal prep on Sundays, I think, are great because this way we have food. We're grabbing for stuff. We're not grabbing things that aren't good for us. And you want to be really careful with sugars and an excess amount of complex of simple carbohydrates, because it'll spike your insulin levels up and down. So be intentional, prioritize nutrition, establish boundaries. Don't just be careful. Just say, I walk into the kitchen, I have my breakfast, and then I'll have a piece of fruit at 10:30 or whatever it might be, and then I don't go back in until 12 noon. And a lot of that is discipline. And let me tell you, I learned this. Discipline is not a dirty word. It's important that we have nutrition, we have proper nutrition, because it also ups our immune system. So I'll tell you another thing that I do every morning. I had been doing, and my health coach had me doing, I squeeze the juice of a half a lemon, or if it's a small one, a full lemon, into water, and I drink it. And that's to raise the acidity levels in my body, because it is proven that raise the alkaline levels. Raise the alkaline level. Cancer loves acidity, doesn't like alkaline. So I was raising my levels. So I've been doing that for years. Now what I do is I put in some emergency, which is 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. I put in a teaspoon of elderberry. Elderberry is an immune booster. And I put a squirt of echinacea into it. And just throw it down. Doesn't taste that bad, actually. And it builds the immune system. So when I do need to go out in public in any form, even if I'm just walking around my block, I'm boosting my immune system. So okay, incorporate movement. I can't stress this enough. And you might even want to time block it. So I'll tell you what I'm doing. So what I think is cool, and when I'm talking to a lot of people about on Zoom sessions, especially my coaching clients, is that the Chinese word for crisis is made of two symbols: danger and opportunity. So my mindset, the mindset I'm choosing, is looking at this as an opportunity, practicing positivity, practicing gratitude, attitude of gratitude. There are absolutely sucky things about this that are going on. With that said, I got a home, I got a roof, I can afford groceries. I mean, there's people in third world countries that are dealing with COVID-19 that don't have any of this. So practicing the attitude of gratitude. And it doesn't mean like I'm Pollyanna and La La Land. It's just a choice that I have. Abraham Lincoln said people are as happy as they make up their minds to be. So incorporating movement, what I'm doing, my point about the opportunity is I'm doing yoga now. I haven't done yoga in a while. And I have this app. I don't make any money off this, called Yoga Studio. And I've recommended it. It's the best app I've ever bought. I think it's like $5. And some clients said, well, I'm going to try yoga on YouTube. And everyone that tries it, I'm sorry, but everyone's like, well, it's too hard. I don't want to do this. Everyone I turn this app onto loves it. So it's peaceful, it's calm. They have beginner. I'm just doing like simple relaxation for 15 minutes. You'd be amazed what 15 minutes of stretching, even if you've never done yoga before, can do for you. And you can always just watch one, see how they do things. Again, don't practice perfectionism. Be intentional, practice self-care, get movement in. Another thing we do is once a day minimum, we walk around the block. It's 3/4 mile, depending where we go, a mile with our dog. Dog needs movement too. So time block out incorporating movement. I have some weights in my house, so that's another way to do it. It's really important to be healthy. Gaining extra weight during this time and stress eating, and I get it, is not going to help us, especially with our immune system. And then finally, be intentional about sleep. And this is what I mean about that. Back to the routine thing. So my parameters are in bed by 9:30, lights out by 10. And You want to be really careful about any type of electronics. If you can, don't charge your cell phones, your computers in your bedroom. Remove all that blue light. It interferes with your sleep. Blue light interferes with your sleep. Have your room as dark as possible. If you can make it a little cool, that's great. Have a routine. And then do your best to go to bed the same time every night, get up every night, because it is a form of self-care. And between that nutrition and between that movement and that sleep, you'll be bolstered, because in times of stress, our body is going to search for things, and we want to make sure that we are being very clear about this. Okay. Missy Parker said, I've heard of time tracking with an app along with time blocking. Do you recommend this, and why? Yeah, it can. We use in my firm, my team uses Time Camp. That's more of a time tracking for billing perspective, to be able to either, I'm paying them on an hourly rate, or we're billing customers. So I think that's my gut, Missy's, you're not talking about that. With that said, yeah, time tracking, time blocking. I'm going to give you another tip. I created this thing called the 55-minute technique, and this is how it works. Pick something that you don't want to do. Bills, or maybe it's, as much as I love being creative, sometimes creating content is not the funnest thing. Pick something you don't want to do. And what you do is you set an alarm. So I'll literally say, okay, Siri, set an alarm for 55 minutes from now.
I've set an alarm for 9:44.
So you can do that. You can do it on your kitchen stove. You can do it on your microwave. And this is how the 55-minute technique works, is you go somewhere and you work on something for 55 minutes. No phones, no emails, no text. And your family knows, don't bother you. So my family knows, doors closed, I'm doing a 55. And when the alarm goes off, I got 5 minutes to wrap that task up. 5 minutes, that's it, because I'm a compulsive person. And then I have to walk away, physically walk out of that. And I'm not allowed to go back to that task unless there's a 15-minute break. Once I have the 15-minute break, I can start a new 55. So my wife and I use this a lot to say, okay, listen, let's each do a 55, and then we're going to go walk the dog, or let's do a 55, and then we're going to go work out or do yoga. It's digestible, and you can do anything for an hour. I call it the 55, again, compulsive personality, where the alarm goes off, and this takes a little discipline. You stop, and then you walk away, even if you're not done. So, Missy, I hope that answered your question. So we are coming to our last quote, and who said this? Put your own oxygen mask on first. It's not anyone specific, but here's the theory. Here's the theory that as partners, spouses, parents, caregivers, whatever role that we might play. Yes, every flight attendant, Paulo said yes, and it's got some sense to it. And I think also humor. Maybe I next time when I do this, I'll include humor. I think you got to laugh during some of this, because it's just this is crazy crap. So put your oxygen mask first, meaning that, and I'll speak for myself. When I have eaten right, when I've slept right, when I've done my yoga, especially sometimes I deal with sciatica, it's not a party, and I stretch out, I'm going to be so much nicer a husband, a parent, a grandparent, a dog owner. When I'm not, they talk about halt, don't do halt, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Don't make any decisions. Don't get into any major conversations. If you're hungry, you're angry, you're lonely, you're tired, I'm going to add pain to that as well. Put your own oxygen mask on first. It's not being selfish. everything you do in harmony. I don't believe in balance. There's no perfect balance. Work-life balance is a myth. It's harmony. So you set a little side time, even if it means as a parent getting up a little earlier so that you are nourishing yourself and you're maybe having that downtime. I'll do some readings, some spiritual readings. And that's another thing that I'm going to say is, and this is not about religion. I'm going to be really clear. I'm not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person. If you believe in anything bigger than yourself, any entity, I don't care if you call it universe, energy, Mother Earth, God, Allah, Buddha, whatever, set aside time to make a connection. And it could just be out in nature. That's one of my ways that I connect with my higher power is to just be out in nature. And that is nourishing to me. And if you go to a house of worship, a lot of them are broadcasting online. I've been doing that, and it's been absolutely amazing. So looks like another question here. Let me see. Nope, that's the one from there. So I'm going to see if I can get into. Okay, here we go. I have a boss that doesn't trust we're actually working at home. How do we get him to believe beyond doing a time-consuming detail report that we're working? Excellent question. Okay. It was interesting. I started with a home office, I'm going to just say 20 years ago. It went back when I was working for someone else. And I thought that, no, this is going to be the greatest thing. I'm not going to work as much. Maybe that's what was going on in my head. I worked way much more. I was in sales. I was 10 o'clock at night. Let me just check my emails to see if we have a sale coming in. So I rarely, if someone has a conscience, met someone that didn't wind up putting in greater effort. With that said, if you have a boss that doesn't actually trust that you're working when you're at home, communicate a lot. Communicate a lot. And for me, it's not about, I did this task, I did that task. It's what you achieved. So what you might want to do is maybe have a standing email and just say, hi, Sue. Hey, Bob. I just want to let you know it's been a great day and fill you in on some of the cool achievements. And then just put bullets. I got this customer contract in. I got this person into my CRM system, whatever it might be. That's one way. Or get Time Camp. I don't believe there's a cost to it or it's minimal. Time Camp is where you can literally say, okay, I'm working. I've been assigned to read this book, and I start the timer, and then it'll spit out a report and said, okay, Thomas spent 45 minutes reading Cohesion Culture, whatever it might be. So that's another way. Ultimately, this is about fear. So I think a very forthright conversation. Again, I always say have that difficult conversation. Say, okay, either you've stated you sound like you might be concerned that what I'm actually working, and I am. I want you to know I'm earning my paycheck. How can I give you peace of mind that you're getting your money's worth? Maybe if you want, I can give you a quick summary with some bullets really quick at the end of the day to let you know what was achieved. Or I can spit out Time Camp report. What you don't want to do is waste time identifying everything. So I think the best thing that I can do is suggest open communication. Have that conversation and then figure out how you can remove that fear. So if that didn't answer it, please ask me again. Okay, I got another question. Sometimes it takes a little bit to pop up. And what I'm going to tell you is that we are on question time. We got 4 more minutes. So I do want to just let you know, if any of this was helpful, please let Missy know, let folks at the Harbor Club know. If you can take the time now to type into the chat what your thoughts are on this, if you receive value or not, any things that we can be doing better, any topics. We're going to tell you is the 23rd, 2 weeks from now. I'm really excited. John Stroud, who's a member of the Harbor Club, is going to be talking about creating videos, how John creates these great videos for LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook for his business. Does a great job at it, does it all himself. And he'll tell you in the beginning, maybe some things it takes to get up to speed, but it's not that complicated. So really, really excited about John. So cool. Great. So Betty, thank you. Yeah, not selfish. And yes, sounds like a trust issue. Bob, thank you. I'm glad this was informative. I just want to we got 3 minutes left, and I want to point out, okay, Missy says, send me an email for anything that you want to hear about. Yeah, so missy.parker@myharborclub.com. Missy is uber responsible when it comes to customer service. So please, this is your series. I'm normally just the moderator, and I can't wait until we can get back live, because we had an amazing session, our first kickoff. Yet reach out to me. I'm under Ask Thomas Heath, LinkedIn.com. Reach out, connect with me. Send me a note, though. Just let me know, hey, I'm a Harbor Club member as well. I got this or that question. So what I want to do is I just want to quickly look. So Gabe Gould was asking, I would love any guidance you can provide on how to maximize the power of LinkedIn. In my opinion, it's not a time to hard sell or tell folks they should be done. Yeah, I agree with that, Gabe. I'll just tell you what I'm doing. I'm not plugging here. I'm answering your question. So first week of May, I'm doing a 2-part workshop virtual on called LinkedIn Profile Makeovers. And I'm going to be teaching there what the very key essentials are on LinkedIn, and then how you can create content that doesn't come across the wrong way, as far as saying, okay, that you're selling, that you're trying to sell things. I'm going to talk about that value marketing. I would say reach out to me. Anyone that's interested in that, it's uber affordable. You can read some of my recommendations on LinkedIn. I've been doing a lot of these LinkedIn profile makeovers. Even if you don't have time to work with me, or you can't afford it, just do something. LinkedIn is so important. And for those of you like, oh, it's social media, it's not normal social media. People are going to check you out. They're going to look at your LinkedIn profile. I'm going to teach you the 4 or 5 P's that you absolutely positively, you get done once, you check off, you never have to be on LinkedIn again. So Bonnie Compton, I'm glad this is powerful, and I'm glad you're going to use tips in your work with parents. Will, I'm glad it's been a great session for you. Wow, you've been working from home for 3 years, man. I give you credit. Yes, and Will said, don't underestimate the power of time blocking and calendars and taking those walks during the day. Sharpen the saw. Happy Easter all. Absolutely, Will. You are a smart man. Mark, thank you. Yes, and thank you for Missy. So, listen, we love you all. We're sorry we couldn't do this in person. We hope this provided value to you. Hopefully we'll be able to record this. You'll be able to watch it in the future. With that said, Carrie, my team and I, and we'll be working with Missy, we'll be getting out the webinar for 2 weeks from now. Similar setup, except you're not going to have to listen to me blah, blah all the time. I'll have John Stroud on. We're doing some moderation. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be really awesome. So I hope you all just have a great day. And remember, practice self-care, be kind to one another, and know this too shall pass. This too shall pass. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.